Well, hold on. Brian Kelly got to 2 14 playoffs.
Yeah, but they got dog walked in every single time that they played in any type of.
He's been in a Final Four, is he not?
He has. He got every time that they faced good opponents, they got dog walked by Alabama, by
He didn't
Clemson.
get dog walked by Alabama his first year at LSU.
No. I'm talking about when he was at Notre Dame. Yeah, that was during the regular season, though. We're talking about these New Year's Six games
Brian
in the
Kelly
playoff.
Ever coached in a national championship game at Notre Dame?
Yeah, he is, and he got his ass absolutely smoked.
Okay, so you can't say someone has reached newer heights when a guy coached a national championship for your school and the other hasn't.
I didn't agree with Cody in that statement that he's gotten to newer heights, but I think that this is a debate that I thought we were going to end up having last week, and I guess we didn't. I think that what Freeman has done needs to be recognized is the level of performance that they had for the first time in a playoff type game, in an important game, a New Year's Six game. That's what it was. In an environment like that, they actually played above expectation. That was what the problem with Brian Kelly was, and why Notre Dame fans were constantly so frustrated, Blake, is that we would get to the game, we would do everything we needed to leading up to the game, and then when we needed to actually play well in the game, Notre Dame would just not show up. And it wasn't even like, a little close for the beginning here. No. The first snap, the game was over. All those times. The Ohio State game that they played, I think that was the
Marcus Freeman literally lost the Ohio State game in horrible fashion a year ago.
That was his second season as a coach ever.
Okay, but you can't say a guy's exceeding something when he had some of the same issues.
But we're talking about right now in a playoff environment. One of the things that has been acknowledged by me and by Notre Dame fans is that this was a growing process. And Marcus Freeman got there a lot quicker than we thought he was going to.
They both got to the Final Four in their third year at Notre Dame.
Conceptually, yes, that is factually true. But hold on. But Brian Kelly, regular season lead up to get into a 4-team playoff. If there was an expanded playoff, and if that was Brian Kelly coaching against that Georgia team, the previous experiences and lack of success would have showed that they would not have beaten Georgia.
Well, you beat a backup quarterback in Clemson when he was there.
At home in the beginning of the season.
Oh no, it wasn't in the beginning of a season.
That was when they beat DJU. That was the beginning of the season.
Yeah, well, both coaches faced a backup quarterback in a high hostile situation.
We on this show and many other shows said that Georgia could be better and would be better with Gunnar Stockton at quarterback. So I don't like that premise that's saying.
No, I'm just saying. Here's the problem from Notre Dame fans. Okay. I'll give you a lot. No, I was the one, not you were the one who was saying to fire the man. I was not saying to fire Marcus Freeman, just for what it's worth. I told you to calm down, okay?
Lost to NIU. I don't think that was an irrational take.
You need to calm.
Two G5 losses.
Okay, but you need to calm down on him. But there comes a part where I got to be real with you. I'm being factual. It's not an LSU thing here. Y'all try to compare everything to the man. Marcus Freeman in year 3, if he does not get to a national championship game, has underperformed based off of what Brian Kelly got to. Hold on. Underperformed for what Brian Kelly has done from a year 3 aspect. One guy built a program from the ground up and got there in year 3. He had something that was established and got there in year 3. Technically speaking, if he doesn't get to a national championship, one guy got to one in year 3, the other didn't. Isn't that how it's supposed to work?
There is an extreme difference between Brian Kelly being a head coach at multiple stops before he took the Notre Dame job. He coached a 12-0 Cincinnati team
and
before
he rebuilt
left.
Something. You were winning. You were barely over 500 when he took it over.
Understandable. What he did.
One loss when he took it over, Joe.
He did rebuild Notre Dame, and Marcus Freeman took it over from there. But Brian Kelly's best recruiting was at the end of his time at Notre Dame when Marcus Freeman took over as the defensive coordinator, and he was hired as the defensive coordinator and lauded as one of the best defensive coordinators in the country because he was a great recruiter.
What was your recruiting class this year?
Blake, we've pulled this up before. We've pulled this up before. There are so many times that people have pulled up. I don't have it in front of me or off the top of my head, so I'm not going to sit here and try to remember off the top of my head. But Notre Dame's recruiting under Marcus Freeman has been better than what it was under Brian Kelly. We're not talking about that right now. Hold on. I'm trying to finish with the point that you were trying to make. The point that you just brought up here, though, is that for Marcus Freeman, if he doesn't get to the national championship game and he falls a game short, it's completely different than Brian Kelly having 3 years to get there after a ton of time to have experience as a head coach, having a 12-0 season at Cincinnati, knowing what it takes to win, compared to Marcus Freeman, who was learning on the job. The guy was learning on the job. He didn't know what he was doing for the first 2 years.
It's so wild because 9 weeks ago, you were calling for him to be fired.
And I admitted that I was wrong. That's not relevant to the conversation that we're having right now. They'll bring that up to throw the back of my face.
You beat Georgia, and you feel like that you think that you can say, with a backup quarterback, okay, that you can come in here and say, oh, we've made it.
I didn't say that we've made it, but this is better already than what happened with Brian Kelly.
Who has the most wins at Notre Dame?
Brian Kelly was there for 11 years.
Okay.
He's been one of the longest tenured coaches at Notre Dame.
Has he ever been to a playoff?
Newt Rockne would have had that record if he didn't die in a plane crash.
To a 4-team playoff, yes or no?
Has Marcus Freeman been to a 4-team playoff?
Now he has. Has Brian Kelly?
Yeah, he was in 2 and he got his ass kicked.
Until Freeman beats and wins a national title, he's not exceeded that expectation.
You're missing the premise here.
No, hold on. I let you talk for 10 minutes on this damn thing. Here's the truth. Here's the God's honest truth. I love you to death. Notre Dame fans, you have not been there since 1988. Let me tell you something about what it looks like, about winning national titles from a guy who's had multiple coaches that have won national titles in year 3. Oh, number one, they always say, well, he won it with the other coaches' players. They're not going to say that about Marcus because y'all hate Brian Kelly. The truth of it is,
literally none of the players that Brian Kelly recruited almost none are on the roster.
Literally not true.
It is.
Your leading sack leader, who's now injured, was recruited by Brian Kelly.
You named one guy. There's a bunch of freshmen that are starting.
Sure. No,
continue what you were saying.
Okay. There comes a point in time where you're trying to put everything on him. He sucks. He's this. He's that. His issues at LSU are not the same what we're talking about with Notre Dame. Two things can be true at once. But I guarantee you, and we'll talk about this in the conference thing, Joe, there comes a difference in time and place about y'all were literally saying that he can't get over the hump. And now that he's in a 14 playoff, he's God's gift to earth. Stand on your feet. Stop shifting all over the place.
No. Stop. You can't give me shit because I changed my opinion because there was new evidence. Don't do that.
Y'all's whole fan base, every time you win something of relevance to you, you say, Brian Kelly, my mentions will be full on Twitter. Brian Kelly this, Brian Kelly that. There should be one focus for Notre Dame right now. Go win the fucker.
Okay, I understand that, but Blake, you're missing. Wait, stop.
Milk coming out your titties, and you don't know what to do because you've never been here.
First of all, we're one of the most decorated programs in college football history. So to say that we haven't been here is wrong. That's just straight up wrong.
You won a national title.
Blake, you're misunderstanding where Notre Dame fans are coming from. It is not by a sense of
sensitive little asshole.
It's not. Let me talk. You just talked. Let me talk. It's not from the fact, Blake, of what you're saying here that, okay, get to a national championship like Brian Kelly, get to a 14 playoff like Brian Kelly in X amount of years. The problem is that Brian Kelly was getting there, and anytime during regular seasons that they were facing difficult opponents, they wouldn't win those games. They wouldn't win those games under Brian Kelly. They couldn't. Stop bringing that up. There has been a complete change and transformation for Marcus Freeman as a coach, and it has been recognized by every Notre Dame fan that he has improved rapidly.
What did I say about you that the whole fan base shifting their opinion on a man in 9 weeks is not factually true?
That's not Blake, he lost to NIU. He had 2 losses to G5 programs. Of course we're going to be frustrated. Just like LSU fans were frustrated that you guys got smoked at home by Alabama.
You're damn right, but that's a different argument for a different.
No, it's not. You're giving me shit for changing our minds.
Brian Kelly's issues at LSU are different than a team, by the way, that plays an 80th strength of schedule. I think Brian Kelly would love
better.
be playing Army and Navy and NIU midway through the year than going on the road to Florida.
Notre Dame team, if Notre Dame and LSU played this week, Notre Dame would beat LSU.
Sure, they would. But historically, since 2000, LSU is up here and Notre Dame is below them.
Okay, but you understand there's a big reason why Notre Dame does not have the accolades that you're referring to. Because there was a man who was leading the program for 11 years who couldn't get the job done. His name was Brian Kelly. 11 years of my life wasted and all of our lives wasted.
Remember this, because when you win and you beat Penn State and you go on to face Ohio State and you get your outright shit kicked in.
Yeah, I know that this is all going to get brought up. I know it is, and that's why I said it off the top of the show. But
he's no better than Brian Kelly.
The irony, Blake.
Here's the headline coming out of Notre Dame. You ready? Same shit happened to Brian Kelly. We're in the same exact spot.
No, that is not going to be the same sentiment. Joe, I can promise you. And also, when are Notre Dame fans don't have Southern accents?
Okay, fair. Y'all don't have Southern accents. But here's the truth. And here's another thing that pisses me off. Shane Gillis's dumbass making fun of Southerners, okay, all the live long day, calling every Southerner a racist. First off, you got blacked out, drunk, and arrested because you're a dumbass.
He's a comedian.
Okay,
wait. Okay, to get back to what you just said a second ago, and I'm leaving it with this. The irony that I can't just get behind that is brought up is that pointing out the fact that Notre Dame in the past 20 years have not accomplished anything in the relevant era of college football. We haven't. But again, like I just stated, Brian Kelly was the coach for 11 years. He was a B-plus coach that did just enough for Notre Dame to be in the conversation, but never good enough to be national championship contending. Marcus Freeman has actually placed his team in a conversation for that.
You can't say that he never got to national title contending when he went to 3 playoffs and a national championship.
I'd be willing to
hold on. That statement coming from Notre Dame fans is factually stupid and incorrect.
I'd be willing to bet in 2012, Blake, that you and many other LSU fans were saying, because everyone in the country that wasn't a Notre Dame fan was saying that Notre Dame didn't belong in the BCS national championship game, that they should not have been playing in it. So that team, that Notre Dame team, was extremely overrated.
Was that Alabama team. That's what y'all don't get.
That's very true. But also, what is also didn't Alabama have a loss that year?
No, it was like the only undefeated season he had, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe he did. Maybe it was early in the year. I can't remember. Maybe you know who they did? I think they might have lost to. Maybe it was Hugh Freeze and the boys.
No, I don't think Hugh Freeze was there.
2012? Yeah, he would have been there. 2012, 2013.
Why do I? No. You know who it was? It was to Johnny Manziel.
Oh,
Johnny Manziel won the Heisman